When it comes to magical worlds, it can be hard sometimes to get the balance right. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here again to talk about another very interesting card from Throne of Eldraine. Now, before we dive in to the meat of the video, I do just want to point out YouTube's been doing this weird thing where it unsubscribed a bunch of people to my channel. So you'll want to make sure if you were subscribed that you still are. If you want to consider subscribing, you can just wait until the end of the video, make your decision then. You don't have to do it now, but just so you know, I do have a Discord linked below and I list all of my live streams and all of my videos in there. And I usually live stream a couple times a day. We're having a lot of fun in them, so you're invited to join me there. Now, let us talk about unbalanced things. Let us talk about an imbalance. Okay, so in the world of Eldraine, and in the Throne of Eldraine set, we have a world that is wilds versus man, okay? And there are 5 kingdoms of man, and there are some exceptions. There are some rulers that exist in this kingdom that aren't men, but are allied with the realms of man. And there is one who maybe is allied with the realms of man, maybe not. I'm not going to 100% come down one way or the other because me and AetherHub haven't fully finished our spoiler video series yet, so I don't want to give away too many spoilers. But let's just say maybe IR is on man's side, maybe she's not. Ooh, who knows? Who knows? You're gonna have to find out from us or by doing a quick Google search. It's up to you. I mean, you decide your level of involvement. It's like Fight Club. You decide your level of involvement. Anyways, we have these 5 kingdoms, and these 5 kingdoms represent different virtues, and some of them have mystical treasures associated with them as well, powerful artifacts that represent them. Now, the Cauldron of Eternity is one such artifact. So let's take a look at the card, and then we'll talk more about the flavor behind it, everything that's going on, and how the Cauldron resulted in a castle in the clouds. All right? So, the Cauldron of Eternity is a very expensive artifact. 2 black, 10 colorless. This makes even the magical mirror go, whoa bro, you expect a lot of mana for what you're doing. And the Cauldron says, screw you, I can't talk back. Shut up, magic mirror. You're the only one with the voice in this world, and it's not fair. Anyhow, so Cauldron of Eternity is a 12-cost black legendary artifact. Again, this is the new wave of doing things. Get used to this, my friends. We will be seeing more and more color-aligned artifacts as we go forwards. And I like this because it allows them to push the power level of the artifacts without as much risk to unbalancing the environment that these cards exist in. So that, to me, is a good move. Now, this card is a bit wonky when you first read it. You go, okay, wait. It costs 2 less for each creature card in your graveyard. Whenever a creature you control would go to the graveyard from play, put it on the bottom of its owner's library, and pay 1 black, 2 colorless, pay 2 life, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So, obviously the idea behind the Cauldron of Eternity is it's supposed to be eternal life. Now, it's clearly tied to necrotic dark energies feeding off of life essence, as the Cauldron is easier to summon to you if you already have creatures that have passed on from this world, right? So it is drawn to death and decay. That is, it's easier to find the Cauldron of Eternity. And you may be wondering why I say it's easier to find it. Well, that's because in the Throne of Eldraine novel, it turns out that the Cauldron of Eternity is missing. It was lost by Lochthwain, which is the kingdom that the Cauldron belonged to. They lost the Cauldron an eternity ago. Nice use of words. Wordplay. Anyways, they lost the Cauldron a long time ago. And they are searching for it. They have no idea where the cauldron is. Now, this cauldron was something that would be used to determine whether knights were worthy and things of that nature, on top of its restorative energies. And its restorative energies are very, very thorough. And that's evidenced by the fact that it automatically makes it so that whenever a creature you control would end up hitting the graveyard from play, instead, you put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Thus, the cycle of endless rebirth. Once you have the Cauldron of Eternity, all people will just survive for all eternity. Now, interestingly enough, this cauldron was in the possession of the elves, and by that I mean Ayara is in charge of Lochthwain. Lochthwain is in charge of the Cauldron of Eternity. So this is something that was owned by Elvenkind, and it's kind of interesting because Elvenkind already have an insane longevity. You would think that this would be something more tied to mankind and something that they would have created. But regardless, it makes it so whenever a creature you control would end up passing away, instead they just, boom, they never even pass to the grave. They never actually lose their life. It essentially bestows immortality. But on top of bestowing immortality, it can also return people to life. And that's illustrated in the 1 black, 2 colorless, tap it, pay 2 life. So you give of your own planeswalker essence, infuse it into the Cauldron of Eternity to add to its power, and all of a sudden, boom, you can actually go a step further. Instead of just keeping what is already alive forever, you can return things to life, and once they've returned to life, they will get to continue on in life. Now, as I mentioned, the Cauldron of Eternity is missing. It's missing from Lochthwain, and as a result, Lochthwain has become unmoored from the world, and instead of being settled on the ground, it is now a castle that floats around on the clouds. Having a cloud castle is a really cool idea, except if you didn't get to choose to have that happen. Having your home rip up out of the ground and fly off into the sky would be incredibly unsettling. Also, losing something as powerful as the Cauldron of Eternity would be incredibly frustrating. Can you imagine? You have this font of infinite life, and oops, look, it's gone now. Well, where'd it go? So people have been questing for this thing for a very long time, seeking to retrieve the Cauldron of Eternity. And it does, I'm not going to say when and where, but it does make a brief appearance in the Throne of Eldraine novels. Novels, there's only one novel. I'm trying to walk that line of getting you guys curious enough to come and check out our videos without spoiling the videos that we're making. You know what I mean? Because I like what me and Aether Hub are doing. I think that the video series is going to turn out very well. Speaking of turning out very well, the artwork for the Cauldron of Eternity is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you look at the whole thing. I love the way it's tied together. I love that it's shown in a completely bereft of life area, like everything. All the trees look like there's no life. You can look in the background there and it kind of looks like there's some smokiness in the air, but it looks like there's no real signs of life aside from these fade. The ground is just blackened and drained of life, and it makes you wonder, does the Cauldron of Eternity, while granting life through the liquid that's in it, also drain the life from its surrounding environment? What sort of magic does it use? I like the little fae that are surrounding it. They're all showed shadowed and black skin. Does drinking from this alter your physical appearance? Do you end up taking on like a black cast to your skin? Kind of like a dark ashy sort of look? Because everything has this muted, lifeless tone. And everything is really dark and black, aside from the purple glowing crystal inside the chalice, the cauldron, I should say. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to switch this in your head for a chalice, but chalices are something you can hold in your hand. The size of this is not something you can hold in your hand. But anyhow, it's got the purple crystal look inside, which has kind of a glow of life to it. But then the fumes, the misty waves that are rolling up off it, they have a vibrancy and a life essence to them, right? It's got this like light blue infused with purple. There's just something about the energy of it that gives the concept of life to me. And I really, really like that this cauldron looks like it's made out of chunks of like black crystal, all kind of fused together. But on the inside, it's purple. So it's like, it's got like the inside represents life and like, I don't know, like vivid life. And the outside represents muted non-existence, the end of lives, that sort of thing. I like the decorations that it has with these sort of, they are not exactly crosses, but they have sort of a cross religious feel to it. And they actually kind of look like the Throne of Eldraine set symbol. The Throne of Eldraine set symbol may be somewhat mimicking the iconography off of the Cauldron of Eternity, because if you look at it, the Throne of Eldraine logo has the whole crown with like the leaves around it and the sword going down, and you have the pointed top on the top of the iconography there. You've got the little two pieces on the side that look kind of like the leaves do, and then you've got the hanging down purple ribbon with that little pendant like triangular tip on the bottom there. And it does give a very similar feel to the Throne of Eldraine expansion symbol. So I like the way that that's tied together. I can't get over how dark and desolate it makes it look around this. This looks like something you would find deep in like a hag's lair. If there was a whole bunch of just corrupt evil witches, you could see them chanting around it. You could see them laying lifeless creatures down into the water, and those creatures just, boom, fly back to life right out of it. The idea of them just ladling this water out and drinking it to extend their lives unnaturally, and as long as the cauldron exists, and as long as it's full of this liquid, every creature that has drank from it gets to live for eternity. Honestly, the artist Tomasz Jedrzejczyk, I may be mispronouncing his name, but whatever. He captured the concept of this so well. This is such a cool card on so many levels. The flavor of it, the power level of it actually seems like it'll be tricky to get it working, but honestly, it'll just be dumb. It just feels like it's going to be such a one-sided game once you get the cauldron up and running, because now all your guys live for eternity. I mean, yes, they go to the bottom of your deck, but there are workarounds for that kind of stuff too. Either way, I definitely enjoy the flavor of this a lot from many perspectives. The artwork's great, the idea behind it's great, the way it ties into the actual book, what happens with it in the book is also really cool, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So my friends, just another interesting spoiler card from Throne of Eldraine that I wanted to go a little bit more in depth with. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Any comments, likes, any of that kind of stuff tells YouTube that you're enjoying my videos, helps get them circulated around more, so I appreciate that very much. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Big shout out to all my patrons and channel members. Really appreciate you supporting my work. And so, my friends, I say to you, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys tomorrow.